Come along now. First of all, I would like to offer a vote of thanks to Anne and Simon for allowing us to use their house for this function. It's been such a success, and, well, without this it wouldn't have happened. And secondly, I'm going to say a few words, not a blow-by-blow account of 60 years of wedded bliss. I'm going to spare you that. But I thought I'd say a few words about marriage itself, because I'm with the government. I'm very keen on marriage. I think every child should have two parents. And it's sad that marriage has fallen out of favour a bit. I mean, unless you happen to be an illegal immigrant, and then you can't get married quickly enough. But it is sad, but I think it'll come strong again. And it puts me in mind of the two old fellas who were at a society wedding. And they managed to slip away quietly just before the disco was being set up. And they were having a drink in the bar, and the one said to the other, "Well, what do you think of that?" He said, "Well, what must it have cost them? 60 grand if it was a penny." "Oh yes," he said, "all of that." He said, "Well, what's it all for?" He said, "Within 18 months they'll be divorced." "Oh," he said, "come on, you're being a bit..." "No," he said, "you can't go against the statistics. It's happening all the time." He said, "I put it down to moral turpitude." He said, "Everyone's jumping into bed with everybody else these days." He said, "Do you know, I didn't sleep with my barber until our wedding night." "Huh? How about you?" "Oh," he said, "now that's a tricky one. What was her maiden name?" But seriously, I do think that young people get it wrong today, because marriages have got to be worked at. The first year of a marriage can be quite a bumpy ride. I think it was of Baroness Thatcher that was described as the iron fist in the velvet glove. Well, to my horror and disconcertion, I found that my lovely pink, soft little bride, who used to agree with everything I said, turned out to be a tungsten carbide fist in a velvet glove. She not only had a bit of a temper, but she was very self-opinionated, and, well, it all came as a surprise to me. I mean, I've always been very interested in UFOs and extraterrestrials. I've never seen a flying saucer, but in a number of sightings, I don't doubt that they exist. But if you want to know anything at all about flying saucepans, I'm your man, and I've got the scars to prove it. But, you know, I think, I feel envious of young people today, because when Mr. Right meets Miss Perfect, they just move in together and they get on with it. I mean, cohabitation is not only widely practiced, it's socially acceptable. Even royalty do it. But when we were courting, it was a taboo. They even had a name for it. They called it living in sin. And, well, even if we wanted to flaunt convention, we couldn't have found anywhere to live. I mean, finding rented accommodation when we got married was like trying to find a £3 note. It just didn't exist. But when you consider that young people now, they live together, and if and when they decide to get married, they should know all about each other. They should know, you know, about their partner's warts and all. She should know that he only changes his socks when there's an hour in the month, and he should know that she snores like a walrus. But they get married, and, well, it only needs one of them to break wind in bed, and it's divorce lawyers at 20 paces. And I think where they get it wrong is they think courting mode and married couple mode are the same, but they're not. There's a very well, it's hardly a subtle sort of thing. I mean, when you're in courting mode and she's half an hour late, he's absolutely beside himself with worry. Has anything happened to her? Has she been knocked down in the street? But when you're in married couple mode and she's 10 minutes late, you don't want to be around to hear the recriminations. And this is what happens. I think young people, they get married and they think it's all going to be as before, but there are adjustments to be made. You've got to sublimate your ego to start with. It's not I and me anymore, it's us and we. You're a couple. And this is where I think they go wrong, because you've got to work at a marriage. Those of you who are married and have been married for some time, you know you get bumpy patches before you settle into it. And I mean, blazing rows are, well, they're almost as natural as grey hair. I mean, married couples have blazing. These people who say, oh, we've been married for 40 years and never a crossword, I don't believe them, because you all have crosswords. But the flip side of having a blazing row is making up again. It's almost like a rerun of courtship. You know, she'll be very affectionate and make him his favourite meal, or if she can't cook, she'll buy him his favourite takeaway. And he'll be very attentive and he'll bring her flowers. You know, it's...
Doesn't beat her?
Well, it's
reading too much Mills and Boone.
it's all give and take.
I blame Facebook.
Well, there you are. But what I'm trying to say is, I don't think young people give it enough of a chance. You know, the first thing that goes wrong,
They're off.
well, they are off. Yeah, indeed. And I think the reason why we've been together for 60 years is because, well, we have given and taken, haven't we, darling? You know. Anyway, what I'm going to... This is a bittersweet moment for us because it's lovely to see your family burgeoning. 2 great-grandchildren we've got now and more to come, I hope. But it's also a sad occasion because when you're knocking on, and you've got to be knocking on to have a diamond wedding anniversary, your circle of close friends gets smaller all the time. Since we celebrated our golden wedding anniversary, we've lost 6 or 7 close friends, haven't we? Sorry. And what I'd like you to raise your glasses to is absent friends.
Oh yes, definitely. Absent friends.
Anyway, I'm not going to say any more. I'll spare you any more now. But it's been a wonderful day, hasn't it?
Absolutely wonderful.
I think the good Lord smiled on us today because yesterday's weather, well, we didn't think it would ever happen. And today, look at it.
Okay.
Blue skies.
Gus, you've spoken beautifully. Can I say a few words, please?
You can indeed.
Well, ladies and gents, we are very special and we're very lucky to be part of a extended family. 20 plus years ago, I met the Mayers. It should be a title for a film.
Meet the Mayers.
Angus is absolutely right. Marriage is not easy. And it does make me smile a little bit listening back there about saying that some people rush into marriage. Well, it's not a trait of the Mayers to rush into marriage. I think Anne and I hold the record of 7 or 8 months, and the rest went for about 15 to 17 years. What does a marriage look like? Sorry, Lind, I got to. What does a marriage look like? What should you achieve? What's the objective when you set out on a long, long road? Well, I think if the objective is to reach today, then you've had a really successful marriage.
Yeah.
Today, you have all your family and all your friends here to celebrate a wonderful relationship. from a personal point of view, it's been an absolute honour and a privilege to be part of the family. Yeah, marriage isn't easy. You have great days and you have less great days. But you also have role models in life. And you, Angus, and you, Margaret, are huge role models. You're role models to your family and to your friends.
Here, yeah.
I talk about what are outcomes. Well, outcomes are a family, of friends. But each person here today will have a personal memory and a personal knowledge of yourself. And you've been touched by you, both families and friends. And can I ask you all to raise your glasses to celebrate 60 years of wonderful marriage and the continuing health and happiness of Gus and Margaret. Gus and Margaret.
Gus and Margaret.
Right, all those
Margaret.
youngsters who've been drinking beer all day, you now have a job.
You want some?
No, thank you.
Once you drink your wine, meet me in the hallway. Youngsters, you think I'm joking?